Hello traders and welcome to today's market update. My name is Nick. I'm going to be going through some of the Forex currency pairs that I find interesting as well as some of the majors, looking for key levels and zones to watch in the upcoming few days. Now, here we are taking a look at Euro USD on the 4-hour time frame. What you can see about Euro dollar in recent times is that we've had a pretty sharp sell-off overall on the 4-hour time frame as well as the daily. You can see long term we are having some nice bearish pressure here. However, currently on the 4-hour chart we are actually seeing some sort of a rebound here on euro dollar. You can see as price kind of starts to make its way up, it's coming into an area of interesting potential resistance. What you can see is right here is we have an area that was previously a level of support. You can see buyers stepping in and pushing price off of these lows, but then broke through that very same level and is now currently headed up to test it. You can see from the lows rallying almost up to, we're gonna have to get up into about a 95 to 100 pips to test this area for sure, to see what happens at that particular area that was previous level of support, now potential resistance. Just kind of a short-term level there. On the daily time frame, looking at euro dollar, you can see again pretty sold off here as price did break through kind of these longer term lows. You can see multiple bottom there. We did get some sort of a support bounce, but then ultimately price broke through the lows. Currently potentially going to test that level again and then find some sort of potential resistance there, as sellers will likely want to defend their area of what was support, now potential resistance. Let's go ahead and take a look at pound dollar, guys, and we'll see what's going on here. Now again, the pound has been selling off aggressively recently as all of the Brexit news that's been going on with Boris Johnson and all of that sort of kind of nonsense going on with all of the Brexit material. We've seen some really interesting moves on the currency pairs that have the pound involved with them. So recently on pound dollar, we have seen a significant sell-off, but actually seeing some sort of consolidation here. So interestingly, going to be potentially seeing some sort of kind of back and forth here between buyers and sellers before ultimately making a decision. So with that in mind, how can we potentially take advantage of this sort of opportunity? Well, one way to potentially do that is to wait for some sort of break and retest either on the long or short side, depending on kind of your time frame specifics and on how you like to trade it. For example, let's say we did get a big break to the upside, right? If the pound does start to rally and we see some sort of significant break of structure, right, that previous level of resistance gets broken, we could see a retest of that level, and we could see a continuation to the high side. So it might be an opportunity there. Similar on the downside, if we see a big breakthrough, right, get some sort of retest, find resistance in that area, and potentially roll over there. I think that's a pretty solid setup for pound dollar if we can get a break of this consolidation zone and start a new trend, either to the upside or downside. We are taking a pause here on the pound dollar, so it might be interesting to see if we can get some sort of setup either up or down. USD JPY has absolutely sold off, guys. Even on the daily time frame, you can see really selling off, but we are currently testing a major level here, and that's why I've got the daily pulled up. What you can see is this level here, right? So long-term low here in USD JPY. You can see it taking a look on the, again, the daily time frame, coming into a very long-term level of, significant potential support, as well as kind of that recent long-term low. So as price has sold off, we did get a significant bounce off of the lows here. You can see we got kind of a pin bar there, pushed price off of those lows, now retesting those very same lows on some intense selling pressure. So going to be interesting to see if that level can hold. I think that initially we may see some sort of a bounce, but again, kind of a longer term, interesting setup, because again, we've had this long-term sell pressure. We've been talking about this the last couple of market updates. Then we've kind of entered this kind of sideways market environment that we are seeing. So from here, we're going to be interested to see if that sideways action can continue and if this will get some sort of bounce to come back up, right? Not out of the question that we see a continuation of that sideways market that we have been seeing, or are we ultimately going to break down and continue that downtrend in another kind of channel downwards? So interesting to watch here. I think that, my incentive or kind of my more pressing idea is that we see some sort of a bounce here on USD JPY. But again, that overall downtrend is still very strong. So it would not be out of the question that we see some sort of break, some sort of retest, and some sort of continuation. So again, if you find some sort of confirmation or evidence that you may see a reversal or a continuation, you can look to see, how that fits in with your particular trading strategy. Let's go ahead and take a look here at Brent crude, guys. What you can see here is that price broke through these major lows, right? And is actually on its way to retest that very same level. We are currently testing that zone here. You can see if I draw this as a shape, you can see that we are currently testing kind of these recent, what was a support level now potentially going to act as resistance, as we are seeing quite a bit of sell pressure here on Brent crude. So we are seeing prices sell lower. We did get a strong bounce in this area, but we did break through that level and close significantly underneath that very same level. So here, pulling back and testing that area will be interesting to see if price can hold that for the sellers, or if we're going to start to see a break and kind of a move back up. Now, if we do see a break back up, one level that I think would be interesting to watch for a potential rebound is to test this trend line here. So if we get price to make a movement up to that area here along that trend line, we might be able to find some sort of seller setup in favor of that downtrend that we have been seeing on Brent crude. WTI, pretty similar structure, looks pretty much the same. What you can see is, again, here's our level. This one's a little bit cleaner in the sense that we have some nice kind of structure level there. So if price does get up into that area, not out of the question that we see price roll over from there, as sellers may have a strong foothold on that particular area. Again, we have that trend structure there as well. So it may be interesting to keep a lookout on this particular trend line to see if price can make its way up there. We may find seller pressure in that area. Gold is going to be our next one, guys. We did get a spike on gold, absolutely crazy movements yesterday on gold. You can see we did dip low and then we shot real high. I think it was something with what Trump said, or something happened where we had some significant move on gold. And you can see from the technical standpoint, we are continuing our uptrend here that we have seen. As mentioned in a couple of our last previous market updates, we talked about kind of this what do you call it, the bull flag, right? So we talked about the bull flag here, right? We talked about the fact that we had a kind of a bull flag pattern here setting up. You can see price made a movement higher, we consolidated, broke higher. And so what we're looking to see is, hey, can we break through those recent highs again? So if we can see a break through those highs, we may see a breakout and a continuation of gold to the upside. Again, gold is one of those things that can continue to trend longer than people expect it to. And that's why a lot of people get in trouble with gold, because they try and reverse it all the time. But it can be tough because gold is one of those things that can just keep trending and trending. So we did find support down in this area here. You can see this is kind of our relative consolidation zone here on gold. You can see here is our lows and here is our highs, right? So we have been traveling back and forth, and so some sort of breakout from above or below might be an interesting thing to watch on gold. Euro Canadian yesterday was an absolutely crazy one to watch. Especially with everything that went on yesterday. We had some serious volatility come into this market. You can see price did sell off heavily on the 1 hour chart, but if we back it up to the 4 hour chart, you can see we're coming back into this consolidation zone that we have been watching for quite some time on this currency pair, back and forth along kind of this structure here. We did get kind of a fake to the low here, and then finally shot right back up into the highs here yesterday. So interesting little setup here on Euro Canadian. I think not out of the question that we see a continuation of this consolidation. So if price can get up into these high zones, if you find some sort of evidence, whether it be a candlestick pattern or some sort of Fibonacci retracement, whatever you like to look at, if you find some sort of other confirmation, this area might be an interesting level to look for sell positions, and down here may be an interesting level if you find some confirmation to look for buy setups as well. Again, previously, lots of significant kind of structure here in this market across the tops and across the bottoms. We have seen some interesting kind of stuff going on with Euro Canadian. GBP JPY has been selling off like crazy. GBP JPY getting absolutely slammed recently, moving down. Let's see from the top to the low. You can see from all the way up here down to here. What is that? 1950 roughly pips, not 1,950 pips to the downside. Absolutely huge movement here on GBP JPY. We actually broke through this level here that we had talked about. You can see we did halt there for a second, so maybe somebody on the intraday side of things might have gotten an opportunity there, but overall broke through and currently on its way down to potentially test this long-term low here. Right over here, you can see that this area here may be an interesting one to watch. You can see if I scroll over just a little bit so you can see it. This area here, multiple bottom coming into contact here. So interesting to see there on GBP JPY how that will react. GBP Canadian is the last one for today, guys. What we're taking a look here at is the consolidation zone that we've seen again on some of the GBP pairs. GBP CAD has been moving sideways. You can see that if I kind of draw this out, You can see again the same similar concept to what we talked about with GBP USD, which is kind of a consolidation zone with the potential for a breakout one way or another and a potential opportunity in either direction. So just to recap on what we said about GBP USD, again, some sort of break above, close, kind of retest might be an opportunity for continuation. Same to the downside, right? So some sort of pattern structure like this might give us an opportunity to start riding some of the waves that might be coming on GBP CAD. Guys, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this market update, and we will see you next time.